Welcome to Royal World Podcast, exploring the history, legacy, and influence of global nobility. Discover more full documentaries on our YouTube channel and TV.
For more than 1,000 years, the British monarchy has survived wars, industrial revolutions, empires rising and falling, and a world that never stops changing. But never before has it been observed with such intensity. Never before has every gesture, every word, every silence been dissected in real time by millions. Today, at the center of that attention, stands one family above all others. This is not just another royal branch. It is the testing ground. The place where one question is constantly being asked. Can the monarchy survive the 21st century? This is not a story about crowns and carriages. It is the story of an institution in motion. Heir to the throne, Prince William, balancing private life with the irreversible weight of becoming king. Being heir to the throne is not a role you choose. You are not elected. You do not apply. You inherit it. And for William, that reality existed long before he could even understand what it meant. William's childhood was unlike that of any previous heir. Not sheltered behind palace walls, but exposed to a rapidly evolving and increasingly aggressive media landscape. Cameras didn't wait for ceremonies. They waited for emotion, for reactions, for cracks. His mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, broke with centuries of royal tradition. She insisted on something radical: normality. She took William to parks, fast food restaurants, hospitals, and homeless shelters. She wanted him to see the real world before inheriting a symbolic one. That decision shaped him deeply, but it also exposed him. William learned early that no emotion was ever just personal. Every gesture could become a headline, every silence a narrative. In 1997, that lesson became permanent. Diana's death was not only a family tragedy, it was a global one. Millions watched as a 15-year-old boy walked behind his mother's coffin. Fully aware that his grief no longer belonged only to him. In that moment, William learned a core truth of the modern monarchy. There is no private mourning when you are the heir. After her death, the royal household recalibrated, less exposure, more control. William was raised with a clear doctrine. Uncontrolled emotion weakens the institution. That experience did not make him cold. It made him cautious, reserved, controlled. In 2001, William enrolled at the University of St Andrews in Scotland. He did not choose Oxford or Cambridge, the traditional strongholds of the British elite. He chose a smaller, quieter university, less ceremonial, more manageable. For the first time in modern history, a direct heir attempted something unprecedented: a semi-normal student life. He studied geography, no ceremonial degree, no symbolic curriculum. A discipline tied to economics, population, climate, and power. William completed his coursework, sat his exams, and graduated with honours. At St Andrews, he experienced something rare for an heir: partial privacy. He shared student housing, walked to class, lived without constant ceremony. Security was present, but discreet. The press, however, never left. There, William mastered a critical skill: living under scrutiny without letting it define him. It was also at St Andrews that he met Catherine Middleton. Outside palace protocol, outside royal choreography. They were classmates, friends. Their relationship developed slowly. Outside palace walls, without advisors, without choreography, no official statements, no royal script. What drew William in was not spectacle, it was normality. Kate did not grow up royal. She understood privacy, routine, and life without protocol. Things William had never fully experienced. But normality came at a cost. As media attention intensified, the pressure became constant. Photographers tracked Kate relentlessly. Every appearance was analyzed. Every absence interpreted. The relationship did not progress in a straight line. They broke up more than once. In 2004, and again briefly in 2007, the relationship fractured under the weight of distance, scrutiny, and an unresolved question William could not avoid. Could he truly commit, knowing what that commitment would demand? For William, this was not just about love. It was about legacy. He had watched his parents' marriage collapse under public pressure. He had seen what happens when personal life and royal duty collide without alignment. During their separation, Kate did something unexpected. She did not retreat. She continued her life. Quietly, deliberately, without public drama. That restraint mattered. When William and Kate reunited later in 2007, the relationship had changed. Clearer boundaries, more patience, less illusion. This time, the decision was conscious, not driven by expectation, not rushed by tradition. William understood something fundamental. If the monarchy was going to survive, his marriage could not be performative. It had to be stable. And for the first time, an heir was choosing not just a partner, but a future model for the crown itself. After graduating from university, William entered the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, where titles disappear and hierarchy rules. At Sandhurst, he was not treated as a future king. He was treated as a cadet. William learned to follow orders before giving them. To endure discomfort without visibility. To function inside institutions larger than himself. After Sandhurst, his training expanded across all three branches of the armed forces: the Army, the Royal Navy, and finally the Royal Air Force. This rotation was not symbolic, it was strategic. A future monarch must understand, intimately, the structures he will one day command only in name. But one dilemma remained unresolved. How far can an heir serve without becoming a liability to the state? William wanted active service. The institution demanded restraint. The compromise came through the Royal Air Force. William trained as a helicopter pilot, undergoing years of technical instruction, flight hours, and operational evaluation. By 2009, he began preparing for a search and rescue role. One of the few military positions where he could serve meaningfully without entering combat zones. And it was during this period, while still in uniform, still training, still serving, that William made one of the most consequential decisions of his personal life. In October 2010, while on leave from the Royal Air Force, William proposed to Catherine Middleton during a trip to Kenya. The timing mattered. This was not a proposal made after duty was complete. It was made in the middle of it. William was choosing marriage while still being shaped by discipline, hierarchy, and service. Shortly after the engagement, William became fully operational as a search and rescue pilot in Anglesey, Wales. Between 2010 and 2013, he flew real missions. Maritime emergencies, mountain rescues, night operations under extreme conditions. In that uniform, William was not a future king. He was a public servant with seconds to decide and no margin for error. And quietly, without spectacle, this period did something crucial. It forged a man capable of commitment to duty, to family, and eventually to the crown itself. When Prince William and Catherine Middleton announced their engagement, the reaction was immediate and global. This was not just a royal wedding in preparation, it was a referendum. On April the 29th, 2011, that moment arrived. The wedding took place at Westminster Abbey, a venue chosen for its symbolism rather than excess. More than 1 million people filled the streets of London. Flags, anticipation, silence before ceremony. The wedding was broadcast live across the world. An estimated 2 billion people watched on televisions, computers, and early smartphone streams. Kate entered the Abbey not as a fairy tale figure, but as a test case. A woman without royal blood, stepping fully into the institution. Her composure mattered. Her restraint mattered. Her ability to absorb attention without reacting to it mattered most of all. When the couple appeared on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, the moment was brief but decisive and global. For the monarchy, the wedding achieved something rare. It unified tradition and modernity without forcing either to surrender. For William, it marked a transition. For Kate, it marked something more demanding. There was no longer a private life to return to. From that day forward, every choice, personal or public, would be read as a statement about the future of the crown. From that moment on, Prince William and Catherine were no longer a couple under observation. They became an institutional unit. The press no longer followed them out of curiosity, it followed them out of historical responsibility. After the wedding, public affection surged, alongside a new level of pressure. Expectation replaced novelty. And instead of settling into ceremonial London, William and Catherine made an unusual decision for a future royal couple. They stepped away from the royal core. Their daily life moved to Wales, near the Royal Air Force Base in Anglesey. There, William continued his work as a fully operational search and rescue pilot. Real missions, real risk, no symbolic role. The distance was not withdrawal, it was calibration. For Catherine, the adjustment was immediate and unforgiving. Every appearance was scrutinized: her clothing, her posture, her smile. The British press quickly transformed her into a cultural phenomenon. To some, she represented long-awaited renewal. To others, a figure shaped too perfectly by the institution. Her appearance became more than visual presence. It became language. The impact was immediate and measurable. Designs she wore sold out within hours. British brands gained global visibility. Colours, cuts, and silhouettes entered popular culture almost overnight. Catherine was no longer simply being observed. She was setting the tone. What emerged was something rare, a royal fashion icon without excess. She did not dress to assert distance. She dressed to create connection. Clean silhouettes, confident restraint. British designers, both established and emerging. Pieces that could be admired, but also imitated. For the first time in decades, royal fashion felt accessible without losing authority. While her public image drew global attention, Catherine was quietly constructing something more enduring. From the earliest years of her royal life, she immersed herself in existing charitable networks, hospitals, mental health organizations, community centers, and family support groups. In the British monarchy, credibility is built slowly. Catherine understood that influence without preparation is fragile. Over time, these engagements revealed a pattern. Again and again, different causes traced back to the same origin point: early childhood. Instead of attaching her name to dozens of visible campaigns, she consolidated her focus. The result was a single coherent agenda, built to last beyond headlines. The Centre for Early Childhood, operating within the Royal Foundation. The centre connects scientific research with public understanding. It convenes experts across health, education, and social policy. And it promotes evidence-based approaches that support families, caregivers, and educators. No spectacle, no slogans, just structure, data, and continuity. Through this work, Catherine reframed what modern royal service could look like: less visibility, more impact. She was no longer only representing the crown, she was reinforcing the social foundations beneath it. For years, Prince William and Prince Harry were presented as a unit. Two brothers shaped by the same trauma, the same loss, the same walk behind their mother's coffin. To the public, they appeared inseparable, but shared origins do not guarantee shared destinies. As adults, the brothers began to embody two radically different responses to the institution that raised them. William chose adaptation. Harry chose confrontation. Different temperaments, different thresholds for scrutiny, different interpretations of duty. Then came Meghan Markle. Her arrival marked an inflection point. Not because of who she was, but because of what she represented. For Harry, Meghan symbolized an escape from protocol, hierarchy, and generational constraint. For William, the moment raised alarms, not personal, institutional. He had seen what happens when emotion collides with the crown without containment. What followed was not a single argument, but accumulation. Private disagreements became structural fractures. Trust eroded, and communication narrowed. By the time Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in 2020, the split was already internal. Public interviews, documentaries, and memoirs did not create the rupture. They made it irreversible. For William, this crossed a line. The monarchy can absorb silence. It cannot absorb open warfare. Elizabeth II absorbed the initial shock. Her response was measured, roles clarified, boundaries enforced. The institution held because she held it. Her death in 2022 removed the final buffer. Grief was universal. So was recalibration. William stepped forward, not only as heir, but as stabilizer. Harry returned physically, but not institutionally. At the center of the transition stood King Charles III. As a father, he expressed openness to reconciliation, but as king, he reinforced limits. William aligned fully with the institution. Harry remained outside it. Today, the relationship between the brothers is effectively dormant. No regular communication, no shared public role. No visible reconciliation. The coronation of King Charles III in May 2023 was more than a ceremonial transition. It marked a profound shift in gravity within the royal family. With the crown placed upon Charles's head, the monarchy moved decisively into a new era. One no longer defined by Elizabethan permanence, but by generational responsibility. For Prince William, the change was immediate. He was no longer preparing for a distant future. He was now the direct center of succession. Alongside him stood Catherine Middleton, now Princess of Wales. Assuming a role once defined by history and expectation, but increasingly shaped by modern restraint. The coronation did not elevate them in spectacle. It narrowed their margin for error. Not long after the coronation, the rhythm of public life slowed abruptly. Catherine's diagnosis of cancer introduced an element the monarchy rarely confronts openly: vulnerability. For a woman whose public presence had been defined by consistency and composure, absence became unavoidable. All her royal duties were postponed and public appearances reduced. The institution adjusted, but the family absorbed the weight. For William, the moment demanded a recalibration that went beyond protocol. He was balancing the visible responsibilities of the heir with the invisible demands of care, stability, and protection. For Catherine, illness reframed everything. Not as retreat, but as focus. The relationship between duty and family shifted, revealing something rarely acknowledged. The continuity sometimes requires stepping back, not forward. Away from ceremony and headlines, William and Catherine have built a family life defined less by grandeur than by intention. Despite their roles, they have consistently prioritized a sense of normalcy for their children. Routine, privacy, and emotional stability. William's childhood, shaped by exposure and loss, has deeply influenced the boundaries he now enforces as a parent. Family, for him, is not a backdrop to duty. It is the structure that makes duty sustainable. Together, they have created a domestic environment that is deliberately insulated, close enough to the institution to serve it, distant enough to protect what matters most. At the heart of this carefully constructed balance stand 3 children. Each growing up under a level of attention few adults ever experience. George, Charlotte, and Louis occupy different places in the line of succession. But they are being raised with a shared priority: a childhood that still feels like one. George, as the future heir, is already being introduced, gradually and deliberately, to the world that awaits him. Alongside his formal appearances, he is known to enjoy football, particularly following his father to matches, as well as tennis and outdoor activities that keep him grounded beyond protocol. Charlotte has revealed a strong, confident personality of her own. She is often described as competitive, focused, and deeply enthusiastic about sports, especially gymnastics, dance, and football. Her composure in public settings has not gone unnoticed. Yet, at home, she is encouraged to develop independence rather than expectation. Louis, the youngest, brings something different to the family dynamic. His curiosity, spontaneity, and expressive nature have made him a reminder. Sometimes unintentionally, that the monarchy is still built on human moments. He enjoys outdoor play, creative activities, and the freedom that comes with being furthest from immediate responsibility. Together, the three are growing up within carefully defined boundaries, visible enough to understand their future, protected enough to still discover who they are. In allowing their children to be curious, active, and imperfect, William and Catherine are shaping something quieter than tradition, but far more resilient. Not heirs in waiting, but children first. An institution learning how to survive in real time is not one of perfection, but of adaptation. It exists in the space between scrutiny and protection, between public duty and private life. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, have not chosen the loudest or most dramatic path. They have chosen a deliberate one. Less noise, more structure, greater consistency. As George, Charlotte, and Louis grow up under a global lens, the crown is being reshaped not through promises, but through upbringing. Through what is protected, through what is kept ordinary. Here, the future of the monarchy is not performed. It is prepared.